and no waves. No sunshine in these empty streets, just a bunch of empty space. And that's when the world went to waste, waste. Yeah. The world went to waste.
Shalom, Yeshurun, children of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac. Today, I would like to touch base with you and discuss with you Revelation 6, a green horse, a black horse, and a red horse, and establish who these people are and what point of time we are in history. And then we'll skip into some prophetic readings of the Heavenly Scroll in chapter 12 of Revelations to see where we are today and how much time we got left before Great Tribulation sets up. So if you will, with me, I'm starting Genesis 25 to establish Revelation 6. Excuse me for a minute. What a wonderful time in history that we live in. We are all blessed to be here at this time. All right, Genesis 25 and 25. And it first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came out his brother, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that some red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? Well, you see, there's another part of that story that is not found in the King James Bible. It's been took out. But we can go to the book of Asher and read about this story a little deeper. But I want you to notice one thing in this little story, how suddenly, verse 30, Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore his name was called Edom, Edomite. Keep in mind for later reference how Esau becomes Edom. Okay? Now, for the rest of the story, let's go. And I will read to you, if I can, starting at Jasher, chapter 27, the book of Jasher. And I'll read this 4 ways and fill you in on the rest of the story of what was going on. Was Esau just wore out and tired because he had been out hunting deer? Why the red pottage? What'd that mean? It had specific meanings to it. And I know several people teach that, well, it was just a terrible thing. Jacob stole. No, he didn't. And let's get this correct. And Esau, at that time, after the death of Abraham, see, right here's the first line that gives us the red pottage. See, Jacob was a loving guy. You know, he was caring, educational, you know, loved the Creator. While Esau was red. And red, you know, usually means anger, blood, hatred. You know, it's always associated with that. So here we have, at the first of it, Abraham's death. Well, see, Isaac was mourning. And Jacob was at home doing the duty of the first son. The first son, Esau, was out and about, and we'll see what he was doing here in a minute. Instead of being at home with his father Isaac during his mourning, he was out and about and left the little brother to do the red pottage, which was the tradition of him to go and feed his father and to receive a blessing, okay, because he was in mourning. And Nimrod, king of Babel, the same was Amraphel, also frequently went with his mighty men to hunt in the field and to walk about with his men in the cool of the day. And Nimrod was observing Esau all the days, for a jealousy was formed in the heart of Nimrod against Esau all the days, because these people were both great mighty hunters. Nimrod was jealous of Esau because Esau had grown to be a mighty hunter. But not only will we see of animals, but they were also hunters of men, still to this day. Watch. And on a certain day Esau went to the field to hunt, and he found Nimrod walking in the wilderness with his 2 men. And all his mighty men and his people were with him in the wilderness, but they removed at a distance from him, and they went from him in different directions to hunt. And Esau concealed himself from Nimrod, and he lurked for him in the wilderness. Keep that in mind. And Nimrod and his men that were with him did not know him. And Nimrod and his men frequently walked about in the field at the cool of the day, and to know where his men were hunting in the field. And Nimrod and 2 of his men that were with him came to the place where they were, and Esau started suddenly from his lurking place, drew his sword, and hastened and ran to Nimrod and cut off his head. And Esau fought a desperate fight with the 2 men that were with Nimrod. And then they called out to him. Esau turned to them and smote them to death with the sword. Okay. And all the mighty men of Nimrod who had left him to go to the wilderness heard a cry at a distance, and they knew the voice of the 2 men, and they ran to know the cause of it. And when they found their king and the 2 men that were with him lying dead in the wilderness, and when Esau saw the mighty men of Nimrod coming at a distance, he fled, and thereby escaped. And Esau took the valuable garment of Nimrod, which Nimrod's father had betrothed to Nimrod, and with which Nimrod prevailed over the whole land. And he ran and concealed them in his house. And Esau took those garments and ran into the city on account of Nimrod's men, and he came into his father's house wearied and exhausted from fight. And he was ready to die through grief when he approached his brother Jacob and sat before him. Now this is the true story of why Esau sold his birthright so easy, and why he was wore out and tired. You see, he was out, instead of being there at the camp at his father's house preparing the pottage for his father, he was out slaying men. He killed Nimrod. He thought he was about to die because he thought Nimrod's men, mighty men, were coming and going to kill him. This is why he sold his heritage, his birthright, to his brother. It wasn't because he was tricked. It was because he thought he was about to die. What good was his birthright going to do? But it turns out that Nimrod's men did not kill him. Okay? So now that we've got that established, I want to look at one more thing that we've seen. You remember in the beginning of the book where it said, "You shall bruise his head and he shall bruise your heel"? Well, also, if we read about the birth of Jacob and Esau, you'll see that there was a struggle in the womb, a fight. You know, a fight for what? Even in the womb was Esau red, and he struggled and tried to kill his brother. You know, some say that Jacob had a hold of his heel to bring him back into the womb. But no, that is not it. Jacob was holding on to his heel to keep Esau from kicking his soft spot and killing him. So we can imagine that Esau came out with a bruise on his heel, and that Jacob came out with a bruise on his head. And we'll see how this story goes, because this is the second witness to a bruising and a healing. All right. Now let me move with you, if you will, and get my ground here. Let's move to the blessings of Jacob and Esau. Okay? Turn with me to Genesis 27, and we'll start at verse 28. Therefore, I give thee, this is Jacob's blessing from Abraham, or from Isaac, I'm sorry. Therefore, I give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. So, this is us today. We know Israel, Yeshurun, is from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, down to us, his children. So this is our blessing that we will inherit, but time is not yet, but it's coming very, very soon. Now, we skip on down to verse 39. And Isaac, his father, answered Esau, and said to him, Behold, this is Esau's blessing, if you will, more like a curse. Where to get to? Okay. Behold, thy dwelling. See the difference? See, Jacob inherited, but Esau, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven, the Shemain from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off his neck. And this is where I'm leading up to it, getting to Revelations, so just bear with me. One's blessed, one's cursed. But the blessing of Jacob, according to the curse of Esau, will one day be plundered, will be broken, our yoke be broken. Okay? Now, if you turn to Genesis 36:1, I'm going to establish something here. I'm going to establish a red horse for you. Genesis 36, it starts with the generations of Esau, who is Adam, an Adamite. And then as you get down to verse 9, it shows the begots of Esau. Okay? And we go on down to verse 15. We get to the dukes. You see, we've always been taught that, let me go back 1 minute. These dukes means governors, okay? We've always been taught that it was the Greeks who established a democracy, and that's where we got our democracy. But that's a lie. It was the red man, it was Esau, who first established governments. And this is how he would infiltrate and take over a government and overturn a higher power. He would go in calmly, hiding in the shrub, deceitfully, and quietly, and then bam, the next thing you know, you've got Esau established within your governments. Sound familiar today? Well, let's see. Let's go to Obadiah And of course, it'll be chapter 1 because there's only one chapter. Let me read for you Obadiah 1 through 6. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith Ayah, concerning Edom, Esau. We have heard a rumor from Ayah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her and battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly deprised. It's Jacob. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Those habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Esau. Thou shalt exalt thyself as the eagle. Have we heard this eagle before? The eagle who carried us out of Egypt. The eagle who carries us once more in Revelations 12. He exalts himself as an eagle. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, hence will I bring thee down, saith Ayah. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? He's describing how Esau leaves nothing. He takes everything. Everything. He deceives himself. He deceives the world by being a great eagle. Now, here's the kicker. How art the things of Esau? How art the things of Red? How art the things of Edom searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All right. Now, this brings us now to Revelations chapter 6, starting with verse 4. Now, we've established who is Red, Esau. We've established that he has set up government, democracy, if you will. Now, I'm going to read this, but I'm not going to read this in order. See the sunlight shining through a little bit here. Okay. It's going to get warm today. 110 index probably. I'll probably have to go to the river, as I always do. But hot coffee, it's never too hot for hot coffee. All right. Okay. And there went out another horse that was red. There went out a horse that was Edom. There went out a red horse who is Esau. Power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that he should kill one another, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Sound familiar? Esau, red, his cursing. He shall live by the sword. And we've established that. And I put in here, I've got on my Facebook, it's called The Esau Effect. It's a 3-series teaching. I encourage you to listen to it. It's 10 years old, but you'd have swore that it was written yesterday. It's awesome. You've got to check it out, okay? Anyway, now, let me skip down here to Revelations 6, verse 5 through 6. No, I'm sorry, 6, 7 through 8. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, or chloros, which is green. I'll get to that in a minute. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him, and power was given to him to take over a 4th part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. Now this green, I purposely skipped, Revelation 5, 6. I skipped the 3rd seal for a reason. If the 2nd seal here is Edom, this 4th seal here, green. Do you know anybody, any kind of government, anybody set up in this world who is green? Yes, we do. It would be Islam. Islam is a product of Esau. Islam is used by Esau to conquer with the sword, as we can see. It's not, it is, I guess we could say, Ishmael. We can see him. We've known forever that the green horse, the pale horse, is indeed Islamic. And they have been sent off and have conquered. Now, when we go back to the blessings, when it says that you shall break the yoke of Jacob. Now, what's going on here? Excuse me, this sun is just totally bright. What's going on here? The break the yoke. That means, Jacob was blessed. We are blessed with all the fatness of the earth. But one day, it says, one day, Esau will break your yoke. What it means is he will take over. We will push us. See, Jacob and Esau has always separated. Gone here, gone there. Scattered abroad. But we are pushed to the last piece of land on this whole earth. And that is America. It is the last place. We are backed up in a corner. There's nowhere else for Jacob to flee to. He's backed in the corner. There's nowhere else left to go. Our yoke is being broken down. And that's what this red horse and green horse are. We are in these times right now. We can see it. Put on your mask. The power of the green horse, given by authority of the red horse, is happening right now. Now, let's go to the black horse, who has the scales. Why did I skip that? Because in the midst of the red horse, the mighty, mighty red horse, the powerful red horse, communism. Yes, I said it. Communism. And Islamism. If they would have came directly. See, Ayah has to have his timing. It has to be on his perfect timing. And things sometimes he throws out there to slow this timing down so that it does not get ahead of his timeline. Or we'd have been wiped out already by the communism. We couldn't just allow communism to snap in here like this. Like if the last presidential election, if it would have went the other way, instead of Donald Trump, we'd have went straight commie. But this black horse, I have to say, is probably Trump and his administration put in place to slow down the process of the red horse and the green horse until Yahuwah, Ayah's timing is ready. Okay? So this is why America is turned upside down, flipped upside down, going crazy, going nuts. All the people of Ayah, Yahuwah, is backed up in a corner. We're feeling like there's nowhere left to go. Things just going crazy. Well, it's because the fulfillment has come to pass of Esau's curse of breaking the yoke of Jacob. We are here. The last land that we've had to flee for Jacob to have the fatness of the land has been conquered as we speak. And we're being pushed and pushed, wearing down of the saints. But don't worry, greater things are to come. We will be sheltered if you joined in that first seal, which everybody says the Antichrist, the Antichrist, the Antichrist. No, it was the Messiah sealing his people before the other seals were broke. Because I sure would hate to be in this world. If we weren't sealed to know better, we would be going around shouting, we want a vaccination, we want a vaccination, we want to get back to the real world. Put on that mask, stand on that X. But no, not yet. Okay, now that we've established the horses from the seals and where we are today, uh, let's go prophetic. Prophetic. Okay. Last week we talked. I talked a little bit on Facebook Live about Revelations 12, and I got down to stop before at verse 6, and went into that with the book of Daniel 12 and established the 1,260 days, and possibly is that the gathering up, is that the wings of the eagle waiting for us for the 1,290th day of Daniel. And then blessed are those that come to the 1,335th day, Shavuot. But let's try to tie all this together. And I'm very, very excited about my prophetic ability that Aya give me of looking into the stars and the Shamain and understanding the so-called planets. No, let's call them what they are. The archangels and Satan. And from here on out, I'm going to do my best not to, I'll call them just for newbies. So if I say Jupiter, Melchizedek, or Mars, Michael, Venus, Gabriel, Messenger, or not Venus, I'm sorry, Mercury, Messenger, the remnant is Venus, Saturn, Satan. So let's start with Revelation 7, and I have wonderful news. Out of the blue, I have had confirmation, and I'm going to share it with you. Somewhere in here, I'll put in the video that is giving confirmation to what I've been saying. Only this is from an earthly view. You know, those that don't understand, his name is Stephen Benoon, and he gave me confirmation and don't even know it. And what gave him confirmation is the advisor to the president, even, and people in Israel, people in high place, has given me confirmation that what Yahuwah Aya has showed me in the to prophesy to you people is true and coming to pass. Okay? Now, let me begin. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought his angels. Those of you that's been following me and know this happened Passover 2020 when Mars, Michael, the archangel, stood on top of Saturn, Satan, and declared this war. The war in the Shamain for the last end days has begun at that point, okay? It says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in the Shamain. So, if we're witnessing this battle going on right now between Jupiter and Saturn, between Satan and the Melchizedek priesthood, battling back and forth, raging, retrograding is what they call it, which what happens spiritually in the Shamain happens physically on the earth. Yes, another Esau effect, unfortunately. Another reasoning to why the whole world is going nuts right now. It seems like people's lost their mind. There's people I've been friends with on Facebook for years now that had a believing mind, a believing heart, and I've seen them turning away and doing things that going back to the church to be baptized after all this time of keeping the feast and everything. It's just a weeding out of the tares and the wheat. Okay, let me continue. Anyway, if they prevailed not in the Shamain, what's that mean? Their place not found there anymore. Well, let's read on. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, or Saturn, Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. and his angels were cast out with him. Now, this is going to be a physical showing. This is truly going to happen. We read in the book of Revelation, or Genesis, I'm sorry, how they were cast to the earth. Hang on, sorry, got a dog problem here. Go on, Reggie. He wanted some lovin's, but not right now. Go on. They were cast to the earth to start with, right? Right. But they were allowed to go to and fro. But this time, this last battle in the Shamain, Satan will no longer be able to go to and fro. He is stripped of his spiritual power to be able to transform from here to there. And that's why he is so angry, and that he comes after the remnant. And then we're carried away, of course, on the wings of an eagle, just like the first Exodus. All right. And I heard a loud voice saying in the Shemaim, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Allah and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accuseth them before Allah day and night. And they, remnant, us believers, the ones who received the first seal in chapter 6, verse 1 and 2, overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and he loved not their lives unto the death. Okay, that's us. Therefore rejoice, ye Shemain, ye that dwell in them. See, those are living stars and beings in the Shemain. It says it right here. Those, therefore rejoice, Shemain, and ye that dwell in the Shemain. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. That's scary. There's stuff living in the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he know that he hath but a short time. I would say his time that is so short when he's cast to the earth is 30 days. I would say. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman. Remember, last week we've established that the woman is referring to the remnant, or to the saints, which brought forth the man-child. Which man-child was the remembrance. Remember, the woman brought forth the remembrance of the promises of Ayah to his children. The woman, us, we woke up and remembered to keep Torah and who our true first love is. There to get to. Nerd. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. Remember how we just read in Obadiah how, oh, you Esau, oh, you Satan, how you pretend to be the eagle's wings, deceiving the nations, huh? That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for times and half a time from the face of the serpent. Okay. Now, this Stephen Ben-Nun video of Israeli News Live is going to confirm what I've been telling you. We are physically going to see Saturn and a third of the stars fall from the sky and hit the earth. And when it hits the earth, I can get my Bible back out. Okay, let me go back up. Let me find this. Alright, I should be. I'm on this old phone here, and it just flickers and flatters, and it's hard to see. I got glasses on. I'm hard enough to see. Okay. Oh, here we go. Yes, I didn't get to it. Okay, so we're physically, spiritual to physical, we're going to see the spiritual beings cast down, and they left their first estate. They're going to leave their estate of spirituality. On their way down, they transform, and as they enter into the physical realm, they become physical themselves, hitting the earth. I don't know about you, but when I've looked up and I've seen the heavens, the Shamain, all the angels and the stars, man, they're unnumberable. But a third of them, a third, is going to be cast down and thrown to the earth. And the serpent casts out of his mouth water as a flood. Well, what do you think is going to happen when all these things hit the earth? Do you not think they're going to hit in the ocean and the seas? And boom, it's going to create a tsunami like never, ever seen before. And it might cause us to be carried away. But Stephen Ben-Nun also confirms to me how the next verse I have said, and the earth helped the woman. Well, along with all the fault lines that we got San Andreas, we've got Yellowstone, we've got the New Madrid, all sitting right here in America. And I'm just speaking of America. I don't know about the other countries or their history or what they've got going on, but I'm speaking of right here. Well, all these things that has not gone off yet are being held back. Why? It's to help the woman. Because when this flood hits, when it happens, when it's going to hit the earth, there's earthquakes like never before. The earth is going to open up and swallow up this flood caused by Satan and the 1/3 hitting the earth. Okay? And not only that, he confirms all the underground tunnels and everything that the elite, the Esau's have been digging underneath the earth and trying to set up bunkers and all this to hide from the Almighty who's coming. Well, he confirms that they can't even use those anymore. They are filling up with water as we speak. So the water table from the ocean is already beginning to go down and into the earth, preparing for what's going to happen. And remember, according to the Shamain, about February the 22nd, somewhere around there, I don't want to give a date, February, mid to late February, and we can see that the battle in heaven in the Shamain with Jupiter is ending. We'll see on September, that's a different point, September 22nd, we see Mercury, our messenger, sitting on Shemek in Virgo, which is the branch, Spica, which means a branch, a budding up. So we're going to see a rise of something September 22nd, according to Shamain. But then come pagan December 25th, pagan holiday, Christmas, around Christmas time, we're going to see Jupiter and Saturn occult, which, that's probably the time of Jacob's trouble. We're in Jacob's trouble, but that's when definitely we're backed against the wall. We have nowhere else to go. We'd better be stockpiled or have our food to survive for the 30 days or whatever. But his yoke is finally broke completely. Because Saturn goes over the top of Melchizedek priesthood just for a moment. And then the sun occults over the top of Saturn, Satan, son of righteousness. And Mercury occults over the top of, and Mars already did. Mars did this in Passover. Mars was the first one to rise over and occult over Jupiter, Satan, Saturn. And then us, the remnant, it shows finally occults over Saturn, Satan, And then Mercury comes back down right between us and cuts off Saturn. And that happens in February. And that is when we're going to see this casting down, or what Stephen Banoon calls the asteroid belt. So let's listen to him and see what he has to say.
Good evening, friends. I am Stephen Banoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. Yet another source has come forth speaking to me privately about this asteroid belt that we have been talking to you about for the past 4 months. This time, an engineer from FEMA has shared detailed information with us privately that confirms and goes even deeper into the stories that we've been shared, that's been told to us by White House and Pentagon sources. And before I go into all of this, friends, I need to first really clarify with you. I don't know, I can't personally confirm this information to be 100% accurate. Do I believe that this is coming? I believe that there's a very real possibility. And the sources that I have, none of them know one another. From direct advisors to the President of the United States, nuclear physicist, to friends that I have directly connected to the generals in the Pentagon, all the way to FEMA engineer. And we know Celeste Solum. I'm not talking about Celeste Solum, though. I'm talking about an independent, active engineer for FEMA that has not only confirmed the information that's been shared with me, but also has gone even deeper into information that they were privy to about this, I have to say, alleged or possible disaster of asteroids that are coming. And I feel like that each of us as individuals, we need to pray ourselves and seek the Lord to know what we should do for our own families. As those of you that seems to have been forgotten, though. Anyway, let's look at this clip here just for a moment to give you an idea, because this movie clip reminds me of what I've been told. Let's watch about 2 minutes of this.
I don't know. When the first time was about to hit. Only part of it. Someone else should have. But you look at that. Wait, what is the explosion? We now are getting word that the fragment has hit Central Florida.
Wait, are some more pieces gonna hit?
Come on, let's go.
But the sky's on fire.
2 days. They got it all wrong. There's a ton of fragments. Planet killers. Space agencies are predicting an extinction level event. We're gonna be together, all right, kiddo? We're just trying to get to safety.
They've been tracking the military flights to bunkers in Greenland.
It's our only chance.
Perimeter breach. Perimeter breach. Runway 33.
I think that's probably enough there to get the point across to you guys so you can see what is going on, what's expected, things like that. All right. Now, I was shared originally this information from an advisor to the President of the United States. There are, of course, many advisors to the President of the United States, but the one advisor that shared things with me has been there since the Reagan years. So he's got quite a bit of knowledge of things going on. He is a scientist as well, and he's really taken a lot of time on a multiple array of subjects to share things with me that I could disseminate to you guys as well. And of course, the asteroid or the asteroid belt, as I call it, he originally shared information with me on. Now, I actually began to talk to him when I first got a memory stick when we were in Kansas from a gentleman, an elderly gentleman, that had done a lot of calculations, and 2023 December was his estimated calculation of the coming of the binary system, is the way he called it there, Herboculus, as it is spoken of by the Chilean astronomer that has since passed away.
So, friends, with all that, take heed that you have been warned. Share this video with whomever you can, and tell them Revelations is no lie. We're at the footsteps, the green horse, the red horse, thank goodness, the black horse, scales, a balance, to keep a balance, has been here. That black horse is not going to stand for long. Shabbat Shalom.
When the streets get so empty and the sky turns to dark gray, and all you see are them flagpoles, but no flags giving away. No sunshine in these empty streets, just a bunch of empty space.